If you're running AWS Direct Connect and you've configured your virtual interface wrong, you could be routing traffic through the public internet right now and not even know it. I've seen this mistake expose internal databases to unnecessary risk, and it takes about 5 minutes to fix.
Okay, that's terrifying. Welcome back to the Network Ninja Cloudcast, everyone. I'm really glad we're covering this today because Direct Connect VIFs have been confusing me for weeks.
Great to have you here. Today we're going to demystify the difference between public and private virtual interfaces, specifically how their BGP routing works completely differently. By the end, you'll know exactly which one to use and how to configure it correctly.
Perfect. So let me start with my confusion. I set up Direct Connect to get a dedicated connection to AWS, but then I had to choose between public VIF and private VIF, and honestly, I just guessed. What's the actual difference?
This is where most people go wrong. Think of your Direct Connect connection as a physical highway you've built between your data center and AWS. A private VIF is like having an exit ramp that goes directly into a gated private community, your VPC. A public VIF is like an exit ramp to a public shopping district. AWS public services like S3, DynamoDB, and EC2 public endpoints. Same highway, completely different destinations.
So private VIF connects to my VPC resources, and public VIF connects to AWS services that have public IP addresses?
Exactly right. But here's something critical that trips people up. A private VIF doesn't just magically connect to your VPC. You need to associate it with either a virtual private gateway, called a VGW, that's attached to your VPC, or a direct connect gateway if you want to reach multiple VPCs. The VGW is what actually bridges your private VIF into your VPC.
Oh, so there's an intermediate component I need to set up first?
Exactly. You create a VGW, attach it to your VPC, then associate your private VIF with that VGW. Once that's in place, AWS will advertise your VPC CIDR blocks to you through the VGW. So if your VPC is 10.0.0.0 out of 16, that's what you'll receive via BGP. You advertise your on-premises ranges back, maybe 192.168.0.0 out of 16 for your corporate network.
That makes sense. It's all RFC 1918 private address space on both sides.
Correct, but public VIF is completely different. AWS advertises their public IP prefixes to you. And here's something important. These are prefixes for AWS services globally, not just your region. You'll typically receive somewhere between 1,000 and 3,000 or more routes. Make sure your router can handle that BGP table size before you enable it.
Wow, that's a lot more routes than I expected. So I need to plan for that capacity.
Absolutely. And you need to advertise your own public IP space back, and this is critical. It must be IP space you actually own and can prove ownership of through a letter of authorization or an RPKI ROA.
Wait, so I can't just make up a public IP range? I need to actually own it?
Absolutely not. AWS verifies this because you're essentially telling the internet, route this traffic to me. If you advertised Google's IP space, that would be route hijacking. For public VIF, you need either provider-independent IP space you own, or IP space allocated by your ISP with proper authorization from them. There's no option for AWS to provide you with public IPs for this purpose. You have to bring your own.
Got it. So I really need to have my own public IP allocations sorted out before I can even use public VIF.
Exactly. This is a hard requirement, not something you can work around.
Okay, so the BGP configuration itself, what's different between the two?
Great question. Both use BGP, specifically eBGP since you're peering with AWS's autonomous system, AS7224. For private VIF, your BGP session uses private IP addresses in a /30 or /31 subnet. By default, AWS assigns these from the 169.254.0.0 out of 16 link local range, but you can actually specify your own peer IP addresses during VF creation if you have specific addressing requirements. You'll configure your router with something like neighbor 169.254.x.x. Remote is 7224.
And for public VIF?
Public VIF also uses that link local addressing for the BGP peering itself by default, with the same option to specify your own. But here's the key difference. You must configure BGP to advertise your public prefixes with the correct AS path. AWS requires you to prepend your own ASN, and if you're using an ASN in the private range, you need to be aware that AWS will strip private ASNs from advertisements going to the public internet.
What counts as a private ASN range?
Good question. For 2-byte ASNs, it's 64,512 through 65,534. But there's also a 4-byte private ASN range defined in RFC 6996, which is 4,200,000,000 through 4,294,967,294. AWS Direct Connect supports both 2-byte and 4-byte ASNs, so keep that in mind when planning your configuration.
So the actual BGP neighbor configuration looks similar, but what we're advertising is completely different.
Exactly. And there's another critical difference. With private VIF, you can use BGP communities to control route propagation. For example, AWS supports communities 7,224 to 8,100 to set a low local preference for a route, and 7,224 to 8,200 for medium preference. These help you control traffic flow when you have multiple direct connect connections. With public VIF, you're more limited because those routes interact with AWS's public routing infrastructure.
So those community values have specific meanings, not just generic preference settings?
Right. Each community value does something specific. Always check the AWS documentation for the current list and what each one actually does before you configure them.
What's the biggest mistake you see people make with this?
Number one mistake is using public VIF when they should use private VIF with VPC endpoints. Someone wants to access S3 from their VPC, so they think, S3 is a public service, I need public VIF. Wrong. You should use private VIF to reach your VPC, then create a gateway VPC endpoint for S3. Traffic stays entirely private, never touches public IP space, and you don't need to own public IP addresses.
Oh, that's exactly what I was about to do wrong.
The second mistake is not filtering your BGP advertisements properly. On public VIF, if you accidentally advertise a more specific route than you should, you could attract traffic you don't want. Always use prefix lists and route maps to explicitly control what you're advertising.
Let me make sure I've got this. Private VF connects to my VPC through a virtual private gateway using private IP addressing. I advertise my on-prem private ranges. AWS advertises my VPC CIDRs through the VGW. Public VIF connects to AWS public services globally. I must advertise public IP space I actually own, and AWS advertises their public service prefixes, potentially thousands of them.
Perfect summary. And one pro tip, if you need to access AWS public services privately, look at interface VPC endpoints, which are powered by AWS Private Link. These endpoints create network interfaces with private IP addresses right in your VPC subnets. Your on-premises traffic travels over the private VIF to your VPC, then routes to those private endpoint IPs. You get the security of private connectivity without needing to own public IP space.
So the private VIF gets me into my VPC, and then the VPC endpoints give me private access to AWS services from there.
Exactly. The private VF connects to your VPC where those endpoint interfaces live. It's all private IP routing end-to-end.
This makes so much more sense now. The key is really understanding what destination you're trying to reach and whether you need public or private IP routing to get there.
That's it for today's episode. If this saved you from a misconfiguration, hit that like button and subscribe for more cloud networking deep dives.
And share this with your team before someone sets up the wrong VIF type in production.
Thanks for watching the Network Ninja Cloudcast. See you in the next one.